The most important piece of goal setting, and the piece that most entrepreneurs miss, is reflection. And that is where you sit down at the end of your 90 days and you say, how did this go? Did I meet my goal? Did I not meet my goal? What did I learn? What could I do better next time? Could I set better goals next time? Welcome to the Process to Profit podcast, where I dig into the key strategies that build successful service-based businesses. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to scale, I'll share practical techniques to help you overcome overwhelm, boost your income, and fall in love with your business again. Let's get your business working for you. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. Today, we're wrapping up our goal setting series and talking about how to actually break down your goals into actionable steps. And we've already talked about how to set your business and life vision and how to set your 90-day goals. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, go back and listen to or watch those episodes first and then come back to this one. But here we're actually finally taking those big goals that we've set for our next 90 days and breaking them down into things that we can actually do, things that we can plan for, things that we can put into our to-do list and our calendar. And we're not just going to be talking about the things that you put into your calendar, but also how you can integrate habits into your day to help you achieve your goals as well, because it's not just about creating tasks, it's also about creating sustainable habits for yourself. So we're going to be talking a lot about breaking things down, scheduling things, understanding sort of what an actionable piece of work is, and also the order in which to do it, and how to do it without overwhelming yourself, without looking at that list of things that you have to do to reach this goal and being like, this is just too much. I'm not even going to bother. We're going to break all of that down. So don't panic and don't feel worried that you're going to feel overwhelmed. If you do feel overwhelmed, even at just the thought of breaking it all down, that's exactly what my CEO Focus and Flow power session is for. I will sit down with you, map out your big dreams, and then map out a plan to actually achieve them. We will figure out what that big burning thing is that you want to get off your plate, and then make a realistic, actionable plan for you to actually achieve it. So the link to that is in the show notes, or you can go to laurenglenn.com/power to book your 90-minute session. Okay, let's keep going with the episode. And so the first thing that we want to do when we're looking at breaking down these goals is figure out what those big chunks of work are, what those actionable steps are. And we do this because we don't want to try to think of every single little thing that we have to do at once, because first of all, that is completely overwhelming to see this giant list of every little thing you have to do, and also to try to figure out what has to, I just had a stutter there, to try to figure out what has to be on that list, and to figure out what all those tiny little things are can be really overwhelming, and it may stagnate you. It may just stop you from doing it altogether. So we try to just chunk it out into those big steps first so that you can stay focused on making progress instead of doing things perfectly. So for example, if your 90-day goal is to build your email list by 500 subscribers, then you would start by identifying sort of the 3 to 4 big pieces of work that that's going to take, or 3 to 4 strategies that you could use to build your email list. For example, one could be engaging on social media and offering up your lead magnet as a solution for a problem that people are having. And what I mean by that is you go on somewhere like Threads or Facebook groups where people are posting about the problems that they're having. Like for me, if someone was posting about just being really overwhelmed in their business, not having enough time to focus, not understanding where their time is or should be going, then I would go in and give a piece of advice and then also offer up my 7 days to business optimization email challenge, my free email challenge that helps people figure out where their time is going, organize their tasks, and create a plan. And that can help them solve the problem that they're having. And so I'm giving them advice, and then I'm also leading them to the sign up page for my lead magnet. So that's one strategy that you can implement to add people to your email list. You could also think of other things like look for bundles that you can add to, look for summits that you can participate in. Maybe do lead magnet swaps with people that are in a similar or related niche. Think of those 3 to 4 strategies and then figure out what the first one is that you want to focus on, and then create the tasks within that sort of bigger chunk of work. And so you'll have a hierarchy. You'll have the goal that you're working towards. You'll have the bigger chunk of work. We usually call that a feature if you were doing software development. So figure out what that piece is. And then you want to break that down into actionable tasks, things that you actually put on your to-do list, things that you put into your time blocking schedule. What are those smaller chunks of work? And you want to think about these in sort of 1 to 2 hour increments. What are the chunks of work that need to build on each other to achieve that sort of bigger chunk of the strategy that leads into the bigger goal? And part of that is going to be habits that you're going to implement, which we're going to talk about in a second. And part of that is just going to be tasks that you have to accomplish. So, for the example of adding people to your email list, maybe one task is to create a new lead magnet that you want to start advertising and offering up for people. But a habit could be going onto social media on a regular basis, finding people who are expressing problems that your lead magnet would solve, offering up your advice, and then offering up your lead magnet as a solution. So that's how you break down that 90-day goal into one actionable chunk and then into actual steps that you're going to take to achieve that chunk to work towards that goal. I need to think of a better word than chunk because feature doesn't really apply. Anyway, so that's how you're gonna break it all down. And you can do this in a project management tool, you can do this on a spreadsheet, you can do this Word document, might be a little bit harder, but even a Word document or a Google Doc, whatever can help you kind of visualize all this. And what I want to help you understand is you wanna focus on the most important thing first. And the most important thing is that first chunk that's going to get you the momentum to work towards the next one. I don't want you to take, for example, in our example, if you had 3 to 4 different strategies, I don't want you to take all of these strategies and then try to break them all down all at once, because that's going to be really overwhelming. And that's where people get flustered and they get confused and they get overwhelmed. And that's when they quit. So I want you to make sure that you are taking it a piece at a time and just taking that first most important thing that everything else is going to build off of, part of your goal, focusing on that and breaking that down into pieces. And then once you get those pieces either planned or you get them accomplished, however you want to handle it, then you can move on to the next piece. But you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to figure out all of the pieces all at once. You should figure out sort of the big chunks at once, but then the actual tasks within the chunks, once you figure out the different pieces within those bigger pieces, then uh then you can start breaking them down without feeling overwhelmed by it. And so you want to make sure that you're connecting these steps to your daily habits so that you can maintain consistency. And what I mean by that is if you want to build your list by 500 subscribers, what's one thing you can do daily to work towards that goal? And an example of that would be I go onto social media and look for people who are expressing the problem that I solve with my lead magnet, and I comment on there, provide a real tip, and also link to the lead magnet. Now, this is very time consuming, but it works, right? It works because you are building that muscle, you're building that habit of going in and looking for people that are expressing the problem that you solve and then offering help to them, not just trying to push them to the lead magnet, but offering help to them and then offering the lead magnet as a solution for the problem that they are experiencing that they're talking about. Threads is a great place to go and do this because people are really uncensored on there. They're very honest. They're very much about like, this is what I'm struggling with and this is the problem that I'm having. And so it makes it a really great opportunity for you to come in and show your expertise and show that you can offer to help them. So that's one daily habit that you can implement to try to reach that specific goal of getting 500 new subscribers on your email list. So think of what are the daily habits or weekly habits that you can start implementing to work towards these 90-day goals. They're not one-off tasks. They're not, think of a strategy because that's not really a habit. They are the things that you're going to be doing on a regular basis and potentially even after the 90 days, they might be things that you continue doing to keep working towards that specific 90-day goals that you've set. Another thing that you can do is a technique that James Clear talks about in his book Atomic Habits, which I'll link to that below, is habit stacking. And so if you are doing multiple habits at the same time, you're much more likely to flow naturally from one to the other rather than trying to do them as disparate activities or disparate tasks so that you don't have to think of it every single time. For example, if you are someone who um, for example, if you are using that previous example that we gave of building your email list by 500 subscribers in 90 days, and one of the habits, like we talked about, is going on social media and finding people that you can offer your help to, Then a habit that you might stack with that is also going on somewhere like LinkedIn and doing more networking. So finding people that are in your network, reaching out to them directly, see if you can connect, see if you can start a conversation. Those are two habits that you could stack together to do every day or every other day where they're connected sort of, they work you towards your goals, and by doing them together and not necessarily at the same time, but one after the other, then you are much more likely to stick to both of those habits because you will get in the habit. See what I did there? You'll get in the habit of doing one and then the other. It's just sort of a natural progression. And so one of the things that I was doing when I first started my business was I had a habit of 3 days a week, I would do very similar to what I was just talking about. I would go on social media and look for people who are expressing problems that my services and my expertise could solve. I would go in and position myself as an expert on a bunch of different Facebook groups that I was in, on LinkedIn, and on Threads. And I would do this, 3 times a week and just spend a block of time going in and positioning myself as an expert for people who are expressing problems that I could help them solve. And it really helped to build my reputation. It helped me to build relationships with people. It helped me to show that I knew what I was talking about. It built me up as an expert. So it's a great way to start building that habit of going in and creating your own um, creating your own ways of working, creating your own ways of sort of connecting all of those things that you have to do on a regular basis. And by building habits, it's helping building you towards the momentum towards your goal. By making it a natural thing that you're doing, then it's a lot easier to keep working towards your goal, even if you're not really even necessarily thinking about it. Like when I was interacting with people on social media, I wasn't thinking like, oh, this is working me towards my goal of X. I was just doing it because it was a habit at that point and it was just something that I did. And if I really thought about it, obviously I knew why I was doing it, but it wasn't something that I had to like think deeply about why am I doing this activity every day. And so by creating habits around it, it makes it a lot more natural feeling and it makes it a lot easier to maintain that momentum. So if you have questions on this, feel free to reach out to me on Threads because I know that this can still sound overwhelming, even just trying to think about it and hear it. I'm at Lauren G Consulting on Threads. You can come on there and ask me any questions you have about this process. And now that you have broken down your goals into tasks and habits and you have your chunks that you're working towards, then you can achieve your goals in your 90 days or not, right? Sometimes things change and you have to shift, or things don't go the way that you plan for them to go, or maybe you didn't set good goals in the first place. It happens, we all do it. So, the most important piece of goal setting and the piece that most entrepreneurs miss is reflection. And that is where you sit down at the end of your 90 days and you say, how did this go? Did I meet my goal? Did I not meet my goal? What did I learn? What could I do better next time? Could I set better goals next time? Could I break my work down better next time? Could I maybe not break everything down at the beginning so that I'm not so overwhelmed? Like, what did we learn from the process? And the importance of the reflection is it's not necessarily about the goals themselves. It's about your process around the goals. It's around how you interacted with them, how they integrated into your daily life and into your business, and what habits you were able to create or use in order to achieve or not achieve your goals. That's what I want you focusing on when you do this reflection. Not so much the goals themselves or whether or not you achieved them, but what did you learn? What can you do differently next time? That's what I want you to get out of these reflection exercises. So you should be checking in on your goals weekly. You should be using your CEO time to do that. And you should be doing a deep dive every 90 days at the end of your 90-day goal cycle of, okay, now I've reached the end of these 90 days. Where are we at now? What can I learn? What should I take going forward? And you can use some prompts like what helped me stay consistent, where did I get stuck, what did I really like about this process, what didn't I like that I want to change next time. Maybe you do need to schedule things out further. Maybe you need to schedule out your whole goal within the 90 days because your schedule is just so packed. You want to make sure that you're actually dedicating time to it. Or maybe it was too structured and you just need sort of a list of priorities that you want to achieve and you check those off sort of as you go. I want you to figure out what worked for you and what didn't so that you can take that going forward and leave behind things that didn't work for you. And this is a lot of what we do together in my monthly coaching sessions with my clients. We sit down and we say, what worked for you this month? What actually helped you get things done that you wanted to get done? And what hindered you from actually being able to accomplish the goals that you wanted to work towards? That's really what we talk through a lot in our monthly session so that when we're setting our goals and creating our plan for the next following month, that it's much more realistic, it's much more attainable, and we're integrating those things that we've learned so that we're not repeating the same mistakes over and over again. So remember, after you've set your goals, the next step is to break that down into those bigger chunks, then break those chunks down into actionable steps, and then implement daily or weekly habits to help integrate those goals into your daily life and schedule those tasks into your time, however that looks for you. And then don't forget to do your weekly reflection and then also your bigger reflection at the end of each 90-day period to see what you learned and what you can do differently next time. So, my challenge to you this week is to take one habit that you've been meaning to start, pair it to one of your 90-day goals that you have already set, and see how that helps you stay consistent and also make progress towards your 90-day goal. And I want to hear from you. Talk to me over on Threads, Lauren G. Consulting over on Threads. I'm very active over there, and I love to hear from you about how this is going. How is your beginning of 2025 going? Have you been able to set your goals? Have you been able to create your tasks and your habits? How is that all going for you? So, Lauren G. Consulting over on Threads. And then schedule your time to reflect on your 90-day goals at the end of March. So if you set 90-day goals for January, February, March, make sure you're setting that sort of reset time at the end of March so that you can reflect on your goals for the first 90 days and then also set your next 90-day goals. So put that in your calendar right now so that you don't forget and so that you actually have time dedicated to it. So if you want help with doing any of this is exactly what I help my clients do. I offer 90-minute sessions and I also offer monthly support. So you can go to laurenglenn.com/work with me to figure out all of those different options and see what one works for you. If you enjoyed this episode or if you got value out of it, I would love for you to give me a review. It helps people find this podcast so that they can also get more help with the processes behind running their small business. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.